Hello and welcome to this edition of the Championship Talk podcast. In this edition, we're just going to be going through a few news articles. We're going to be rounding up the weekend's fixtures, and we're going to also look forward to the fixtures that are happening after the international break. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm your host, Paul O'Toole, and joined on Skype with me today is my co-host, Thomas Falco.
Hello!
Right, first of all, I want to start off with... We're going to talk about the FA Cup in a second because I think that was a fantastic weekend of fixtures. There was some amazing football and there was some amazing challenges as well. Some bordering on, but what it was good to see. It was good to see all the stadiums all nice and full. Did you manage to catch many of the games? And did you see that the fact that some of these little stadiums were actually full to the rafters?
I saw a total of 2 games, and one of them was very significant because Barnsley beating Notts County 4-0 cost Harry Cooley's job. He's only been there about 3 months. But that's beside the point. And the other game I had a vested interest in for personal reasons was Ebbsfleet United 0, Cheltenham 0. So I'm glad I went out of my way to see as much of that as I could. What about yourself, Paul?
I actually watched a couple of games. I watched Haringey Borough against Wimbledon. I'll go into more detail in a bit. But what I thought was fantastic is you see these little stadiums that don't hold. I mean, they hold 2,000 people at absolute max, and that's cramming people in like sardines. And it was just great to see that these clubs are relying on this income to get them through the season. Obviously, you know, when you're only getting gates of 100 to 200 people every week, that doesn't barely cover your costs. And what I want to talk about before we is a lot of news articles around the Championship finance, more specifically around the new TV rights deal. And I want to go. We've talked about this before, and it's just coming more to a head. And I think it's quite worrying for the Championship, but actually could be a good thing. And I want to go into as to why. Okay, so first of all, as he sniffs down the mic, first of all,
sorry,
the parity between games, the teams that are having live games shown and teams that aren't, is getting really ridiculous. West Brom have had 11 shown on Sky, Leeds have had 10, Aston Villa have had 10, and then you've got Preston and Wigan that have only had 4. Now, on the face of it, you kind of think, well, okay, that's you times it by the length of the season, that's going to be huge. And I think that just shows that there is an imbalance. The other thing I want to bring to look at is Leeds have actually been shown on Sky more times this season than Liverpool and Manchester United. Now, one, that's great because it just shows that Leeds are playing attractive football that everyone wants to see. Fantastic. But 2, when you actually think of over a weekend, there can be sometimes 6 games on Sky. I'm thinking 6 games on Sky, 2 games shown in the Championship. So for Leeds to have been shown more times than some of the biggest clubs in England. I know Leeds are a big club, but in terms of stature, international appeal, in the things like that, that's phenomenal. And Leeds are rightly upset that now you can watch every Leeds game when they're shown on a Wednesday night or a Tuesday night. You can watch them on the red button. That it's actually affecting their home attendances. So kind of when I talk about statistics like that, how does that make you feel as a Forest fan and potential loss of revenue?
Well, we saw what happened. Yeah, that's a tough one because that's still a relatively fresh thing. There's seemingly developments every day. I just worry that I don't really know what any sort of breakaway would do for football long term. Really, I can understand why they are doing this, but then you'd think about the impact that has on League One, League Two as well. So, will that effectively kill them? Will that effectively kill any revenue going into them leagues because they are only added on? I know we're a Championship podcast and that's our main concern, but with this Sky deal as it is, they have the League One and League Two tied into it as well. if this breaks away and becomes a Premiership 2, which is it is rumoured to be, A, it's bad for the game, and B, it is going to kill financially most of the teams in League One and League Two, because who's going to pay millions of pounds for the rights for them two leagues?
Now,
that's my only concern about this.
Going on to the finances, okay, because this is where we talk big numbers, but you're actually dividing it across 24 clubs. So the Sky deal was a 5-year deal, as I've said before, 120 million per season. Now, the way that's broken down is that's 3 million a piece across the 24 clubs. Okay, so it's 3 million each. Plus, they then get a share of the next 17.7 million pounds. Okay, so when you actually break that down to how many games Sky actually show, that's not a lot of money per game. And if you then take a £35 ticket, and if you're going to get 2,000 less fans because of that, you're losing more revenue than you're gaining from having the game shown on Sky. Because you divide £17.7 million by the number of games there is in a season that Sky show, you're then talking a vast sum of money to these teams. So when you think 3 million a piece, that barely pays. That barely pays one of the top players in the Championship's wages a year. So that revenue stream is really curtailed by the fact that that's not a great deal of revenue from a product that's being shown quite significantly. Right. So where that compares to the current deal, so currently they get £2.3 million a piece, and then they get a share of £10.8 million. It is a better deal, but when you look at how well supported this league is, does it represent value for money in terms of what the product is? Now, I'm pretty certain that the Championship clubs are looking at this thinking, actually, as a marketable product, at £120 million a season, that's undervalued. And when you look at what the Championship is, it is a good product. And we have seen some fantastic football. I think that 120 million doesn't represent good value for money. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I want Sky to lose the rights? No. Because it will probably go to someone like, you look at Quest's coverage isn't the greatest. The Spanish football in the UK is now shown on some pay-to-air Facebook channel that to be fair, I can't even bother.
11 Sports.
Yeah.
11 Sports.
I am not,
give them their due.
I am not buying another sports package. I am not paying for Sky Sports. I'm not paying for BT Sports as well. Then 11 Sports. Then some other Tim Pot sports company that outbid Sky by £1. It needs to seriously. It needs to represent good value for money in terms of a consumer as well. Now, I think these clubs, and I'll be honest, it appears to be Derby that are leading the way on this in terms of looking to break away.
Typical Derby.
Forest are among the 15 to 16 clubs that have been rumoured to be really anti the new TV rights deal, and they're even threatening to leave if the board that runs the commercial side of the football league agree this deal with Sky. That's what's going to cause them to threaten to leave. Now, when you look at the commercial success of the Premier League, £5.3 million their TV rights deal. £5.3 billion. The Championship TV rights deal represents a small fraction of that. And I think these clubs are right. They can get a better deal. But I don't think the way about it is to leave. I think the way they go about it is to work with the Football League. And as you say, use the package of League One, League Two to be like a sweetener. And I think that the football clubs as a whole can benefit from a better deal. I think this is obviously... Sky don't really have a great deal of competition in this market. They don't. So they can pretty much pay what they want. When we looked at what was the sports channel that went bust and absolutely caused turmoil in the...
ITV Digital was the original one.
When that went bust, obviously that caused a horrendous amount of problems. Setanta Sport as well. When they went bust, they had a big commercial TV deal with the Division 1 at the time. Obviously, Sky have got...
Well, arguably, the thing... Sorry to talk over you, Paul, but the ITV Digital thing ruined some clubs.
Yeah.
That literally ruined some clubs. Some clubs free-falled, went out of the league. They've had to be reformed as other clubs. So I don't know if you can remember Stockport being in the Championship at one point. Where are they now?
League 2, I think.
No, they're in the northern... They're in the league below the what we call conference. They're in the northern part of the league below.
Wow.
And teams like that have fell from grace. Some teams never ever recovered from that thing that happened with ITV Digital, and that is the fear that could happen again to teams like this. And what happened if they do? That's very unlikely, but you'll be losing. But they won't be on TV. They can end up shooting themselves in the foot and have to accept a deal that is not going to be in any way, shape, or form beneficial to them because they need the exposure. Who's going to pay? No offense, because we do promote the championship, and you're totally right. The clubs are right in demanding more money because they deserve more money when you consider the stakes that are pushed on it and the way that Sky advertise it as get into the promised land of the Premier League.
Leaving the wilderness.
But if this doesn't, well, yeah, leaving the wilderness into the big time, into the promised land. If they can't get this bigger TV deal, they're going to have to end up going back to Sky with their tail between their legs, and Sky have got even more power over them than what they had before. Can you see a BT Sport spending £500 million, for example? I'll just pluck that figure out of the air, that's from nowhere. But can you see BT Sport investing £500 million in rights for the championship?
You're in the ballpark figure for like the amount of money that comes. So that's the thing that really frustrates me is the monies that you're talking that the Premier League clubs get divided between them in one season is the entire 6-year deal or 5-year deal that Sky have got on the table. And that to me just doesn't seem right. I get what you're saying in terms of you wouldn't want some tin pot sports company that isn't well funded, probably doesn't really recognise how to market a product like this. But I do think the difference between what the Premier League are getting and the Championship is getting, considering how many viewers and how well attended the league is, I just think that doesn't represent good value for money, this current deal. And I could not blame these clubs. They're not being greedy. What they are doing is they're actually securing the futures of their clubs. And when we look at some of the... Go on.
Sorry, I was going to say, no, I totally agree with that to a certain extent. I'm not saying that they're not worthy of demanding more cash out of this, because the cash is there to a certain extent. That should also be an eye-opener for the Premier League to maybe feed down a little bit more down the leagues, because the amount of money they get for their TV rights is phenomenal, astronomical, and absurd at the same time as well, if you understand what I mean. Because they're getting billions of pounds. Where does this billions of pounds actually go?
I disagree with you there. They market a product better than the Championship. They are able.
Oh yeah, and like, obviously that's got the worldwide appeal, and the Championship is not too far behind that.
The difference is,
like, compared to other, like, steps down from other countries, like you wouldn't see the Segunda Liga in Spain or whatever, or Ligue 2 or whatever that's called, or Serie B, and nowhere near that sort of level in that respect. But surely with all this money going into the Premier League, that's their responsibility to I'm not saying a big amount, but feed it down to the lower levels. Surely that shouldn't all go on paying someone £300,000 a week. The reason the money gets spent, right? So the reason that the Premier League, you pay Alexis Sanchez £500,000 a week, right? The reason you do that is because people are going to watch the product. People are going to watch the product that has the best players. So to attract the best players, you pay the best money. Now, the Premier League, what they're very good at, and we're going to go on to Richard Scudamore in a minute because I'm going to have a bit of a rant about him. So the Premier League have marketed themselves as the best league in the world. Whether that's true or not, that's how they marketed themselves. So that's how they can sell their brand. The Championship is hamstrung by the fact it drags along League 1, League 2 because they're sold as a block. Now, that isn't any disrespect to League 1 and League 2, but what the Championship can't then do is market itself as a product in its own right. It also doesn't have the buying power, the pull to say, right, this is what this product offers. Why are we not out negotiating a deal just for this product? Now, the Premier League has got no obligation to feed the money down. They broke away originally. They broke away to have this exact situation where they market themselves as one product. And actually what we're seeing now is you go back to when the Premier League was first formed, if the breakaway doesn't happen, you have the exact same situation that Championship is in now, where they're hamstrung by the fact that they cannot negotiate their own TV rights still. And obviously, with the money we're talking,
such small amount of money in comparison to some of the. I mean, what was the biggest transfer last season? This transfer window, 15 million. Carvalho, I think it's probably was it Carvalho to Forest? There or thereabouts.
Well, that weren't quite 15. That was 13.6, 13.7.
Right. So in TV revenue, that's 4 seasons worth of TV revenue. That just don't make sense on one player. But that doesn't represent a above average transfer. Actually, that represents a player that probably, that's the going rate for that type of player that is a top end player in the Championship. Probably with a bit of experience will be a good Premier League player, but that's the type of player that the Championship can attract in terms of appeal, but is struck by the fact that it does have rigid financial fair play rules, as QPR and Birmingham and Sheffield Wednesday are known to their cost. So obviously you can't get a takeover from some billionaire sheikh that just pumps money in, because that's not allowed. You're hamstrung by the TV revenue. And then, of course, then is it then a fair competition when you get promoted? And all of a sudden, yes, you do have all this money, but you haven't had the money to build the infrastructure and the youth development in terms of bringing players through that are of a better caliber, because you haven't been able to. You've had to invest in your first team squad only. That then limits the competition in the Premier League. I just think always around this doesn't feel right, and I don't really like the idea of a breakaway. But I can see it's probably a good solution to a marketable problem, because I think this product's 120 million a year to watch.
Oh no, that's
ridiculous.
That is grossly grossly undervalued. For the listeners who do not know us too well, I'm not down on this. I think they do deserve a lot more money, but I can't help but see the bad and the pitfalls in anything you throw in front of me. And I've just got a feeling in the back of my head that this may well backfire.
And
that's what I feel in my mind. I don't want it to, because we do this to put the Championship out there. That is worth a lot more. That should be getting more exposure. That should be advertising a lot better. That deserves better than the 90-minute highlights or the hour highlights we get on Quest and things like that.
Yeah.
No offense to Quest, because they do a good job of putting it out there, but that could be sold. That could be sold, advertised a lot better, branded a lot better. But
I actually think just on you mentioned Quest, right? Actually, because I sometimes watch the Sky Sports highlights on the app. Chile is playing.
Yeah.
The exact same minute. I just think the Quest do a good job, but they do it on the cheap a little bit. They don't obviously they don't edit the highlights packages themselves. That's nothing against them. Quest are new. Who the hell were Quest up until we started researching for this podcast? I didn't even know what channel number it was on. And obviously, I refuse to watch Sky's highlight package where it has the stupid little diddly music over the goals. How disrespectful is that? You can't even hear the crowd. Anyway, so that's the first run over with, and that's the worry. And the worry is that this feeds into that whole 20-club Super League, Premier League, where it doesn't have promotion and relegation because there's no league to get relegated to. Okay, Richard Scudamore. He's leaving as the chief executive of the Premier League. He's been the chief executive for 19 years. So he's done a good job. He's negotiated some of the biggest TV commercial deals ever, and I think that he deserves credit. However, there was a news article today that every Premier League club is going to chip in to the tune of £250,000 to give him a farewell gift. So 20 teams are going to give him £250,000 each. So he's going to get £5 million as a farewell gift for the good job he's done. And the chairman of Cardiff City has said he's done a great job and he deserves the recognition. We're all working to make sure this happens. Only 3 teams have rejected the chance to chip him. So the chief executive of the Premier League is going to get more money than Leeds if they win the league in TV rights. He's going to get £5 million just to say, well done, chap, you've done a good job. Leeds win the Championship this season, or West Brom win the Championship this season. They have the most games shown on Sky. Richard Scudamore's going to get more in a bonus than they're going to get in TV rights money. Could you ever have a bigger up yours to the championship than this?
No. What can you say? There isn't anything you can say. I mean, he has done a marvellous job, and you and I are going to chip in and donate him £2.50 each and send it away. But like, I can't really talk about this without swearing.
I just can't understand. I mean, when you and then I deal with numbers. So 5.3 billion. He's going to get £5 million as a thank you. That represents 0.01% of his of what value he's brought in. And no, he hasn't brought the value in. The value set. The product has pretty much sold itself. But obviously, he's been in charge of making sure that deal happens. He's been in charge of making sure the right people are bidding. He's in charge of carving up the games so that everyone has a silent auction, so that it's all done underhand. Well, it is. Let's be honest, and no one thinks about the consumer, because carving it up so that 4 or 5 different television companies have 2 or 3 games here and there is ultimately making fans pay more. Let's be honest, that's what it is, because you want to watch all your team's games. You're going to have to buy BT Sport. You're going to have to then buy Sky Sports. You're then going to have some tin pot streaming service. Do you know what I mean? That's the way.
Can we stop referring to these things as tin pot streaming service, because this time next year we're going to have Amazon in the fold as well.
We are going to have Amazon in the fold.
And they're not tin, and they're not tin pot, because they're like a multi-billion-pound company, and that's probably going to be the future of where there is a distinct possibility. We've not talked about that, but the rights for the championship could end up with someone like Amazon.
And if it does,
or Netflix have been long rumoured to be in wanting to get into sports. Whether that ever happens or not, I don't know. But
if they don't play stupid diddly music over the goals and the highlights packages, because they'll take it seriously because they've purchased a product they care about, good luck to them.
That'll be there, because that'll be presented by Jeremy Clarkson or something as well.
With my name either.
To justify his wages.
They'll have the gag from like 7 o'clock in the morning, so you can binge watch a TV series. But no, in all seriousness, Richard Scudamore has done a great job. I just think that this. I read these news articles on 2 separate websites, and it just made my blood boil. The fact that £3.5 million the championship clubs get divided each, and Richard Scudamore's going to get a £5 million Cheerio bonus. Just the haves and the have-nots, and I just think it just sums up the parity and the fact that this championship is so undervalued.
Oh yeah, no.
Let's move on. Let's move on to some FA Cup football, some real football, because I know we're a championship podcast, but obviously the championship clubs, the second round draws already happened. The championship clubs are going to start feeding in soon, and there were some fantastic games. I want to go into the Friday game, the Haringey Borough against Wimbledon. Did you actually get to watch this game?
I did not. No. Sorry, I can actually get away with admitting that on the Championship Talk podcast, because it's not in my job description to watch the FA Cup first round games. So I can do that guilt-free.
I know a lot of people that don't usually watch football, my mum and dad included, they watch this, and to be honest, this was real football. The manager is the only paid staff member. He had to at half time change the barrel in the pub. He had to interrupt his half-time team talk to go to it. That's just real football. There was 2,000 fans. There was nearly 3,000 fans at the Haringey Borough's stadium. The average attendance is about 190, and you just think that.
Right then, Mr. FA Cup first round. You watched it. You can't get away with just saying Haringey Borough. What is their home? What is their home ground?
I don't know. It's in Haringey. It's on White Hart Lane. I know that they've got the claim to fame that they're only. The only football club to actually play on White Hart Lane, because obviously Tottenham now have moved their stadium. They're actually not on White Hart Lane anymore, which is just funny. But Haringey Borough...
Haringey Borough play their home games at the Cole Park Stadium. This is proper football. The capacity is 2,500, which means they were 210 over. But only 280 of them are seated. So there's over 2,000 people stand and room only. In
the absolute driving rain on a plastic pitch, a 3G pitch, just like we play on a Thursday night. And I'll tell you what, they gave Wimbledon a game, and the Wimbledon manager actually lost his job a couple of days later. But they actually gave Wimbledon a game, and this was just fantastic football. I think BBC did a really good job of highlighting the disparity in terms of size of the clubs, but not being too patronising. I think at times they do these coverage, and it's just like, you're making the tea at half time. Well done, lads. It can get quite patronising at times. I don't think they did that. I think they showed Haringey Borough all the respect, and actually Haringey played really well. This was a good game to watch. The other game that I watched and I thought was really, really good was the Colchester United game. So that wasn't Colchester.
Oh, yes.
Colchester United going out to Accrington Stanley. And no, I'm also talking about Cambridge as well.
Okay, well, make your mind up.
No, because they were just upsets. They were just really good upsets. Cambridge United losing to... I've got a list of all the fixtures here and I can't find it.
Ooh,
Gainsborough. I want to say Gainsborough. Oh, you're going to fill while I try and find this. My lap.
Yeah, so some of the other results that stand off the page that you might
Guiseley.
mention.
Guiseley against Cambridge. 4-3. So Guiseley were 4-0 up. Guiseley of, I think, the Northern something, Vanarama something. 4-0 up after about half an hour. Cambridge United came back into the game, and this was just a fantastic game, and what a giant killing.
I still can't find them on my bit. I still can't find the result on my bit of paper. I'm still looking at you talking about it. No wonder that's not in my paper.
The Metropolitan Police lost, which was unfortunate. There was a couple of really bad challenges as well. There was one where the player doesn't just go over the ball; he goes over the ball about thigh height. He gets up and goes, "Wasn't me." And it's clearly inside the penalty area, and they don't give a penalty. I just thought this had everything. But now the FA Cup, it was good to see these stadiums absolutely packed to the rafters, as I said in the opening bit of the show, because I think that, especially for Haringey Borough, that they said that the amount of money they'd get from TV revenue and obviously the fact they filled their stadium more than its capacity actually secures the club's future for, I think, 3 years. Which is just bonkers. So that's what a gate of nearly 3,000 people guarantees a club's future for 3 years. I mean, that's that again. We're just talking about parity, and I think that's fantastic for football in general. And obviously, some of these clubs are going to be in the hat for the second round, and then they're nearly in the promised land of potentially playing one of the overpriced boys.
I'm actually disappointed for 2 reasons about the Metropolitan Police. One, I assume that you'd have to be linked to the Metropolitan Police to actually be able to play for them, which is not the case. That used to be the way they done it, but he changed it because the commissioner refused to sanction time off for players to play.
I was going to say crime levels go up when they play at home.
And the other thing, I've just now looked through their first team squad, and they haven't got a single player with a name linked to the police, like sergeant or detective or something like that. It's very disappointing to me.
That's the type of thing you would find disappointing. Right, so let's move on, because I did actually watch the Still City derby. I watched that. That's recorded. I watched that afterwards. Wish I didn't.
We had the. Actually, I haven't made any notes about this game whatsoever, apart from the penalty miss. Can we go straight to the penalty that wasn't even a penalty in the first place?
No, because I've written quite a few notes. So, first of all, the atmosphere in this game was fantastic. Did you?
Of course, there was 30,000 people.
I don't know. It's a derby, but having watched the Old Farm derby, and you could hear dogs barking outside. Yeah, you could hear dogs barking outside. It was good to see a proper derby. Sheffield Wednesday, Britain 3-4. I actually think they were really happy with the draw here, and they were hanging on for big parts of this game. So early on,
and that's more importantly for them, that stops the rot as well, because that was on the back of 4 or 5 straight defeats for them.
They were on a massive slump.
Was that 4 straight defeats?
4 straight defeats, yeah. Their last 6 games, won, lost, drawn. So yeah, they really did halt a slide. They're nearly bottom of the form table. Fleck had a great long shot early on. A good save by Cameron Dawson. Fox had a shot from 3 yards that went over. He was under a little bit of pressure, but 3 yards. Had to get it over the bar was harder than actually get it in. He kind of hit it as it was going upwards. It was a bit unfair, but you don't miss from 3 yards. I don't think it was a penalty. I've put he's a cheat.
You don't think that was a penalty? There was no doubt whatsoever. That wasn't a penalty. Yes. There's no that's all about intent. Surely he looked for it. The offensive player kicked the defensive player to go down.
Duffy,
or made contact with him to go down. Yeah.
See,
Duffy and the defender whose name escaped, because I haven't made notes, I can't remember.
Duffy's not a player that he's known for diving, I don't think.
Oh no! I'm not calling him a cheat in any way, shape, or form before Friday night. But he was looking for that. He was looking for that penalty, 100%. Definitely not a penalty. And although I said about that being a miss, that was a fantastic save from Dawson, in my opinion.
See, I put this is the McGoldrick that Ipswich Town and Nottingham Forest fans will remember. What was with the run up? He took 2 steps. I thought, and I'm not going to say that because we've actually said about not dicking about. I just think with 2 steps, you're not going to generate the power. And I just think this was a good height for Dawson. He got the ball away as well, which I thought was good. So he gets it from the away from the onrushing crowd. I just thought if this was hit more power, it'd get more height. It probably would have gone in. It's just the whole 2-step run up thing just didn't really work for me.
No, I mean one of the best penalty takers in history. Well, apart from Matthew Le Tissier, of course, only missed one against Nottingham Forest, Mark Crossley. A little fact for you. One of the best penalty takers in history was Beppe Signori. Can you tell me one of the 2 interesting facts about Beppe Signori? He used to play for Lazio and Bologna in Serie A.
I know he only took a 1-step run up.
He took a 1-step penalty and he wore boots that were 2 sizes too small for him because he thought he had a better touch and control of the ball. But he only took a 1-step. That wasn't the best penalty in the world, granted, but he got it in the corner and big word had to be said to Dawson for getting down low that quick to save it and do exactly what you've said. You've hit the nail on the head. Push it away from danger. That takes a lot of skill for a goalkeeper to be able to do that. Take nothing away from him for that brilliant save.
Don't get me wrong, there were worse penalties this weekend. And we're going to get to it a bit because I think Norwich, considering they got a German as their manager, we're going to get to their penalties in a minute.
Well, you see, after the previous weeks where you've cut out some of the content I've said about Norwich, which is not offensive in any way, shape, or form.
You noticed that, did you?
You go to the old German stereotype of saying that because they're managed by a German and got German players, they must be good at penalties.
You actually listen back to the podcast then.
Oh yes, I make my fiancée and children listen back to it.
That's why you can hear them crying in the background on occasions. Sharp usually never misses from 6 yards, but he had a header that went wide. So it's unusual for him. Dawson made a good late save from a free kick late on. McGoldrick worked really hard for the team here. Actually, he did a lot of their water carrying, and Sheffield United was just the better team, I think. Sheffield Wednesday just did not want to play football here at all. They went out to spoil, and I think they did. They wanted a point. They got the point. 75% possession for Sheffield United. 75%. 19 shots, 5 on target, 12 corners. To Sheffield Wednesday, 7 shots, 1 on target. They wanted the point, and they got the point. I think. Yeah. I think they knew that they couldn't go toe to toe with Sheffield United, and that's a big sign of respect. 30,000 people at Bramall Lane. Have you got what the manager said?
I have, yes, and we'll start off with Chris Wilder. This is actually the only thing I've written down about the match, what the manager said, and you'll find the same about the Nottingham Forest Stoke game later on. Chris Wilder said, I thought we were outstanding. We had a plan. We stuck to that plan. We totally dominated a team that is full of big names. Well, no, actually, the biggest one is Pel Plusi, whatever his name is. They've got players in there called Fox. He's only got 3 letters in his name. I wouldn't say that's a big name. Bum bum. We looked for that little break, whether it was a penalty or a bit of magic around the edge of the box, but we couldn't quite find that. I'm not walking away tonight feeling any disappointment about how my team has played, and I would rather be in our changing room with the way that we played, the plan that we've got, and the way we move the ball around than the opposition. Joss, our good old friend Joss Luhuke, said, "We must thank Cameron Dawson that he stopped the penalty. That was very important at the beginning of the game. After that, the team worked unbelievably and defended well to keep our first clean sheet. It was hard for us to get forward, but the team was there for each other, worked very hard, and after last week, we can live with this draw."
Yep, I know which team I'd pay to watch, is what I'm going to say. And that is not Sheffield Wednesday. So the first of the 3 o'clock kickoffs on Saturday, it was Birmingham 3, Hull 3. An amazing game, but as I like to call it, the coupon buster. Because I did not give Hull a hope here, and much to my embarrassment that actually they've showed those real fight.
What did I say in our last podcast, Paul? Can I just remind you what I said in the last podcast?
A lot of stuff that I cut out.
I can't now say can't ask the question how many games have Norwich won this season, because it's now 10 rather than the other one. I said that Hull are going to make it hard for Birmingham, because although Birmingham in a purple patch of form,
wrong, stop, no, to pick up. No, stop. They didn't make it hard for Birmingham. They gave them 2 goals. Like, they gave them a 2-0 head start.
Well, in fact, they actually arguably give them all 3 goals, really. When you watch the highlights back, that's unbelievable. Break it down for us, Paul. We'll talk about it goal by goal.
On 21 minutes, Che Adams scores a right-footed shot. Now, you hear me say that, you think, oh, okay, well done, Che Adams. No. Right, so it was a back pass right to Adams.
I like that. As a goalkeeper, and I feel really sorry for David Marshall, who conceded 3 goals through absolutely no fault of his own. How he's conceded that many? Well, we now know why they've conceded so many goals this season. In fact, not as many as you'd think. Actually, 24 in 17.
Because Marshall's played well this season.
That's not even to a game. That's actually quite good for a team in that position. That was Elphick. He was just outside the penalty area, weren't he? To the right as we were watching it, so that would have been the left to him. David Marshall is pointing where he wants the ball. He wants it across the 6-yard line, anywhere across there, tons of space. He can take a touch, whack it downfield. That's just I can't tell you what I've written down. Woeful, absolutely woeful. There was no power on it whatsoever. That just died halfway between the 2 points.
So Adams is in 1-on-1 with David Marshall, who he rounds. Marshall's got it. To be fair, Marshall's probably just so shocked that what these defenders just done. He's just looking at Che Adams run towards him, going, "What's the point?" Che Adams rounds him, and this is the best bit. Che Adams rounds him, takes a second touch, and nearly puts the ball wide. So Che Adams' second touch nearly puts the ball wide, and then just before it's about to go out, he taps it in. And you look at that, you think David Marshall off this game must be thinking, right, I'm changing with the referees because I ain't changing with none of them Muppets. So you think after that their defence gets better? No, on 45 minutes, a right-footed shot. They've done exactly the same thing. They've passed it directly to Che Adams, who then just runs. Immediately has to go past another defender at this time, but he does it pretty easily.
To be fair, that is halfway inside their own half, so they're not doing it in the penalty area. At least they're making Che Adams work for it.
Their 2 centre backs are playing one of the quickest players. Che Adams is a very quick player, and he just literally he jogs past the other defender, and then hits a low right-footed shot past Marshall, and they just passed it straight to him. Now you're just watching that and thinking. Right, so
Jordy Device, that was. Tried to pass it across to Elphick, his colleague who cocked up for the first goal, and he thought, you know what, we're a team in more ways than one. I'll cock up as well to level it out. Fine.
Can't have that. You can't be embarrassed like that, mate. We're both in it together. The one thing about this is you can imagine Nigel Atkinson at half-time is
or even the Hull manager Nigel Atkins.
That's what I thought said. He goes in and goes, "Well, I told you to keep it tight at the back, lads." Now, I think Hull probably 4 or 5 games ago lose this 2-0. No, they get back into it, and I think they showed some fight. Fraser Campbell in 50 minutes, a right foot shot. This was Grosicki. Did you see the way he passes this to Fraser Campbell, the outside of his right foot?
Yeah,
this was amazing.
Yeah.
This was so good. When he wants to play football, he's great. I mean, just don't let him take penalties or shoot. But as a playmaker,
that's a bit. That is a bit harsh considering what happens in a couple of goals time. Like, he's a World Cup class player. Literally, he was in the Poland World Cup squad.
Yeah, he was.
And he's a Polish international regular. He is a really quality player when he's on song. That was lovely. He did write down he sliced his cross, but that doesn't do it justice. I don't mean like he didn't mean it.
It's across the ball.
That's the way I describe he done it because he meant it, didn't he? That was just lovely. Absolutely lovely. And Campbell's the right man, right place, right time. He scored his fair share so far this season as well.
He has.
His goals have been sort of quite valuable for them. He's now on the top scorer sheet now.
So Fraser Campbell then scores again on 61 minutes, a right-footed shot. This was a scramble from a cross that just wasn't dealt with at all. This is Birmingham's, chance to make it a little bit difficult for Lee Camp. And Fraser Campbell,
this all started off from our friend Grosicki again, because I'm pretty sure that when he worked it into the box, that was a shot. And that was a complete mishit, weren't it? And that just caused confusion. That weren't cleared. Come off a defender. I think that come off Morrison. Just fell to Campbell, who, thank you very much.
Now we've given
right place, right time.
We've given Lee Camp a lot of stick. Now he had no chance for this free kick, did he? This was top. Grosicki.
My personal bugbear as a goalkeeper, obviously not a professional goalkeeper, although I think I could rival Lee Camp at times.
Yep.
Hello, Lee, if you're listening. How dare you? I've got more physical presence than Lee Camp. That's the kind of way I sound. I'm fat. And he's got more
I was
hair
going to say
than
he's got more hair.
Lee Camp did get a touch to this, but that was hit so hard and so precise. I don't think any keeper could have saved this.
You pick any keeper, Neuer, De Gea. You pick a overpriced goalkeeper. He goes in goal here. They ain't saving that. Right now, so Hull are like 3-2 up. Right, let's keep it tight at the back. We've got that was on 73 minutes. We've only got 16, 17 minutes to hold out. No, 84 minutes. More poor defending. This is no surprise. A cross not dealt with. An air shot from Device. Then Adams just scores from 6 yards.
Did you see how this move actually started off? That was a free kick from Mahoney, weren't it? Fair enough. He lofted it into the edge of the 6-yard box. It was inadvertently headed into the danger zone by a Hull player. I don't know if you noticed that. Jackson Irvine actually headed it into the path of his own defender. You've described it perfectly, air shot, who just went to whack at one as well. We would say something else if we were playing on Thursday, but we're not going to swear. He just went to whack at one and completely miscued it, ended up kicking air. And Adams again. I mean, this game, for the amount of goals, there's 6 goals in this game, and only one of real quality.
Adams is his first one.
Yeah, of course. But no, that's crazy. You can have these 6-goal games, and that's why the Championship is worth a lot more than the money that Sky dishing out for it at the minute, because you get entertainment like this.
When you get comedy,
you get these free games, and Sky adding the comedy sound effects to it as well. Quite sort of possibly. That's the one game you wouldn't mind there being sound effects on, like boing,
21
and stuff like
21,000 at St Andrews to watch this game, and.
Oh no! The St Andrews Trillion Trophy Stadium.
44% possession to Birmingham. 11 shots, 4 on target. 3 corners, 2 holes. 12 shots, 5 on target. Have you got what the manager said?
Yep, Gary Monk said, we spoke at half-time and warned the players about Hull's situation, where they are now, and that they had to come out and respond and to be ready for that, and we didn't do it. That's 6 goals in 2 second halves, and that's not acceptable. Hull's manager Nigel Atkins, or as you called him earlier on, Nigel Atkinson.
Famous son of Ron.
No, the important thing is that we needed to change the shape to be a little more direct, and the players have applied themselves and showed desire. Ron Atkinson is a very nice man by all accounts. Just put that in there. We are in a position to win it. Lo and behold, a mistake on a clearance drops invitingly for their player to go and score. But the goals were honest mistakes. Just bad, I would say, rather than honest mistakes.
Yeah, I'd go with bad as well.
I stopped there. He actually said more, but he's lost a lot of credibility in my eyes for saying they were honest mistakes. They were just terrible.
We can't go out and buy too many central defenders, so he's a bit hamstrung. So we're going to move on to Blackburn Rovers 1, Rotherham 1. And we've said about Rotherham's poor away form, they haven't lost away.
No.
Well, they haven't won, but they haven't lost away. Rotherham nearly took the lead early on, but there was a header just over. Rodak has turned into a really important player for Rotherham. He's made some
well, yeah. To be fair, he needs to be their most important player because, no offence to Rotherham, you'd expect he'd have more shots thrown at him over the course of a season than many other goalkeepers in the Championship. But some of these saves, he's grown in stature because he was a bit maybe wobbly, you'd say, to begin with at the start of the. He's really, really grown in confidence and stature, and some of the saves he made in this game, especially tipping that one onto the bar, were phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yep. Michael Smith on 75 minutes, a header from Ryan Williams, cross. It was crossed. It was headed back. And it was almost like, I would imagine if you're a goalie in that situation, and Raya had no chance, the ball's already gone past him, but it bounces and just rolls agonisingly over the line. Bradley,
all credit for Raya turning up in fancy dress. He decided to turn up as the Phantom of the Opera for this game.
Yeah, what was that about?
He broke his nose, didn't he?
He did. Yes, he did. Yeah, he got that nasty challenge. To be fair, he's done pretty well to get back in. He's got a broken nose, you have to wear a protective mask, and you go back in goal. I think it's a special kind of nutter to do that. Bradley Dack on 81 minutes. Ben Brereton, a player that you liked so well at Forest. This was poor defending that basically meant Brereton was free in the box, on the edge of the box, and he just squares it to Dack, who taps it in. He ain't going to miss those. I think the strange thing about this is that Blackburn didn't score more goals, I think. 12,000 at Ewood Park to watch this game. Blackburn had 25 shots, 9 on target. That's 66% possession. Rotherham had 1 shot on target, and that was the goal.
And made it.
They did. You got what the manager said?
Yep, Tony Mowbray said he didn't say that, I'll start again, sorry. Frustration is probably the best word. First half we struggled a bit with their directness and long throw-ins and didn't deal with the first ball very well. The second half was as good in possession, creating chances as we've been, and just a real frustration we only managed to create the 1 goal, but it's done now, there's a lot of good play. They went and scored from their only shot on target.
Yep, they did.
Very, very well done. Very well done, Tony. He's very observant. Observant, even. Rotherham manager Paul Warne. I think it's a point gained, really. We started well, but it's a difficult place to come, and their home record is pretty phenomenal. They've beaten Leeds and QPR here. It was disappointing because I think their goal was offside, but I'm not being a baby about it because their play probably deserved the goal.
Fairly honest assessment, I think, Paul Warne. I think Rotherham, again, they get any point away from home, they're happy because it's going to be their home form that keeps them up. Bolton Wanderers 0, Bolton Wanderers 0, Swansea 1. Barry Mackay on 15 minutes, a right-footed shot. I've just put...
What a goal.
Yeah, that's exactly what I put. What a goal. Curls into the top corner from the edge of the 18-yard box. This was a fantastic goal, this was.
I didn't put it down as a curler. I said thunderbolt. Because I thought he just whacked it. That was a corner that weren't dealt with, hacked out. Mackay, right edge of the penalty area, just smashed it in basically, didn't he? And ironically, that's his first goal for Swansea, and he scored his last goal when he was at Nottingham Forest against Bolton. So he's maybe one of them players who like to score against the same team over and over again, a bit like Luis Suarez was against Norwich. all them years ago, he scored like 15 goals in 3 games or something ridiculous against Norwich.
Every player scores
Funny
a
how
lot of
that
goals. Every player scores a lot of goals against Norwich, as we'll go on to in a bit. Kalina should have scored but blazed over. Bolton hit the bar. Amiobi should have scored but got tangled in his own legs, which was funny to watch. He did. He got tangled in it. 14,000 are at the Macron Stadium to watch this game. Bolton had
the University of Bolton Stadium.
Whatever. 43% possession to Bolton. 12 shots, 3 on target. Swansea didn't fare much better. 10 shots, only 2 on target. So it wasn't the greatest of games. I only read about 4 lines of highlights because it was dull. What did the manager say? Did you wake him up?
You've written more than me. Bolton manager Phil Parkinson said, "I don't really know what to say." Fair enough. Swansea manager.
That's awkward in the post-match press conference.
Well, no, he did say more, but I just thought that'd be just a good thing to say. I don't really know what to say because that's exactly what he said to begin with. Graham Potter said 1-0 victory show a bit about the team in terms of character. Second half it became a bit more scrappy. We couldn't control things at all. The home team's responding, good spirit from them, and we have to try and weather the storm and be resilient. You need a bit of luck, of course, which we probably had, but we're overall delighted.
Yeah. Bristol City 0, Preston 1.
Moving on.
That game was okay, but this game was even worse. Preston will be so happy with this. Callum Robinson, who's I think has played fantastically well. He was just free at the far post. Goal. You're not going to mark someone; they're going to score. Rudd, actually, on this, the one thing I did is Rudd made a couple of good saves, and I know we've given him a lot of stick. And a couple of saves he made kept Preston ahead. So
good to see him come back in under sufferance, maybe because the suspension to Maxwell for his misdemeanor, shall we say? Good to see him come back in form though, because he is a decent enough goalkeeper. He's been regarded by quite a few for a while now. I think he was at Norwich, weren't he, at the same time as John Ruddy? I had to say it like that because
hold on.
He's been highly regarded.
He's been highly regarded by who? People that haven't watched him play?
By quite a few people. I know Peter Shilton's had a nice few things to say about him when we shared a lunch the other day. He said that Declan Rudd's one to look out for.
Yeah, okay. Oh, the other thing I didn't mention is Jukovic in the Birmingham game. He got the Player of the Month award.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did.
The Manager of the Month, as we shall go on to. Manager of the Month was Steve McLaren.
Yep, it was. I've got nothing more to say about this game. It was dull. 19,000 people at Ashton Gate watched this. I can make comments like that when there were only 6 shots, 1 on target for the home team, 9 shots, 3 on target for the away team. You could say Preston were a bit of spoilers here. But actually, they weren't. I just don't think Bristol City have got they're not a great run of form. They're not riding high with confidence. I think it's going to be a tough season for them. They obviously lost some key players last year, and take out last year's performance and season they had, they'd be happy with where they're currently sitting. I think obviously the expectation goes a little bit higher when you have a great season like they had. This season's very much a conciliary season with, we've got some new players in, we've lost some key players in all positions. I think we just need to make sure that we're comfortable and we go again next year. I think that's going to be what you would be looking at.
What have they got? What have they got going for them in this season, Paul? Would you say?
I just don't think they can push for the playoffs. I think they're too good to be struggling. I think it's going to be a better mid-table season for them.
I think the only thing they've got going for them is their third kit.
Don't go there with a kit. No.
You said you like the kit.
I do, but there's a couple of kits that just boggle my mind. What did Lee Johnson say after this game, Alex O'Neill?
Lee Johnson said the only thing we've got going for the season is the third shirt. No, individually we didn't get our game going, and the frustrating thing is we didn't show identity or have a spark. It hurts, but we have to be careful not to be too down because we're still 13th and we can stick a run together.
Disagree, but go on.
Alex Neil, it was a pleasing performance, probably the perfect away performance. That's us unbeaten in 7 games, their first away win of the season, by the way. And it's a difficult place to come, is Ashton Gate. Defensively, we were solid and we carried a threat going forward. I think everyone did their jobs today. The win was the most important thing for us, and I think we can start to pick up a bit of momentum now, and hopefully we can build on that. Keep the man fit. Keep him fit, and they'll go far. Robinson is a phenomenal player, and they've got to do well to hang on to him in January because
tough for them, I think they're 18th at the minute. They actually went bottom of the league for a couple of games, and we both said that's not where they're going to finish.
Oh no, that's very much a false position. I don't like that saying because you are where you deserve to be, but that is really a false position for them.
That was. We're going to move on to Derby 0, Aston Villa 3. This was a very high caliber game. This was a game of two teams that play football. I think the whole John Terry, Frank Lampard thing, I think overshadowed what was a good game of Championship football. I think, unfortunately these clubs can't help who they're managed by, but that does obviously attract some attention.
Well, they can because the powers that be of these clubs pick the managers, so of course it can help.
And I think in Frank Lampard, I think as an assistant manager, John Terry's probably the right man for Villa. So, it's good. It just shows the stature of these clubs. The fact that these were mega star footballers, and they probably could have jobs anywhere, and they're managing in one of the best leagues in the world. There was a long ball upfield. Tunzebe was in trouble, real bad trouble. The Derby shot, maybe there was a hint of handball, then there was a bit of a scramble and a great save from Nyland. This was quite funny because there was a massive long ball upfield. Tunzebe just was he didn't know where the ball was, he didn't know where the player was, he could have brought him down. The shot, as I say, Nyland ended up saving. There was a hint for a handball, or a shout for handball. Good start to the game. There was another long ball that Derby nearly scored. On 74 minutes, McGinn from a Yannick Bolasie cross. Now, we said about Villa and their ability to get the ball in from out wide. I think all of these goals were from balls that were swung in. You had Bolasie on this occasion, great cross in, and then a bullet header from McGinn as he's diving inwards. I thought this goal was good, but this was all about Bolasie's cross.
You have highlighted the biggest note I've made of this game by playing down them, by exploiting their quality out wide. Their first 2 goals were both from the left, and it was far too easy. I put Bolasie turned Bogle inside out. He did. He literally. That's very rare you see it at this level. He was like completely bamboozled. Crossed it in for McGinn, who headed it down. Clever finish for a midfielder to score a header like that as well, actually. Then McGinn, that was a quality ball for the second as well from McGinn down the left.
Abraham,
have you got anything of it? Yeah, because he played that ball into space, didn't he? There was no one in the front of the penalty area.
And Tammy Abraham,
6-yard box, he's played that ball lovely into space.
And Abraham's at full stretch, and he's a tall lad, and he full stretch gets a leg onto the end of that. You're right. He plays it between the goalkeeper and the attacker. It takes some skill to know where to put that ball and know that Abraham's going to be on the end of it. Fantastic. Then on 84 minutes, Conor Hourihane, who has, what do you say? He's been one of their better players. I definitely think he has.
Yeah, considering I get the impression that I've always had it in my head he wasn't a regular starter under Bruce, but he started this game, didn't he? And his free kick. He has got a wand of a left foot.
The other thing
he has. I can't explain his left foot in any other better way than that is a magic wand.
I think they think Grealish is going to hit this with his right foot because it's where it's positioned. This is a right footer's free kick because it's on the it's put to the goalkeeper's right, which means it's on the left side of the pitch. It's on the left side of the 18-yard box. You have Grealish standing over it as if he's going to hit with his right foot. Hourihane standing over as he's going to hit with his left foot. Hourihane curls it with his left foot around the wall into the top corner. Now, I'm not saying any goalkeeper is going to get to this because I don't think they would. But that added bit of disguise, when you've got Jack Grealish on one side and Conor Hourihane on the other, both of them can put it in the exact same spot. I think that was just a brilliant free kick. That was a fantastic goal. That really, really was.
Yeah.
In terms of stats, there were 30,000 people at Pride Park. That's just them numbers are bonkers. 47% possession for Derby, 11 shots, 5 on target, 21 shots for Villa, 5 on target. This was some game. Have you got what the manager said?
Yep, Frank Lampard said, boo hoo hoo. No, the first half was closer. To the second half, they were a better team, clearly. And if we had enough chances to win it, probably by more. If we're not in it as we were in the second half against a team with the quality of Aston Villa, that's what you get. We've had a great month, and a game like this is actually a wake-up call, a reminder to us all that this league is tough. If you underperform, you'll get beaten, and we need to make sure those games are rare. Dean Smith said, I said today was an opportunity to draw a line in the sand about what we can be, and we've certainly done that, but their standards are up there now, and that's where we want them to stay. It gives everybody a boost. I said I wanted a team that was hungry and showed desire to go and create chances, and we did that.
Middlesbrough 2, Wigan Athletic 0. This game was dire. Jordan Hugill on 38 minutes with a penalty, and I put, what a pirouette by Friend.
No, to be fair, he done really well to beat his man on the left, didn't he? Was that I've got the notes here. James.
Yep.
He beat James, and Kipra seems to be a magnet for these type of things. He's been involved in quite a lot of bad for Wigan lately, hasn't he? Bless him.
Has.
And George Friend, he did bring him down, but then again, as you say, he did sort of run into him, not as maybe blatant as the.
It's definitely.
Duffy one. Oh yeah, but that's like, it isn't as if he dived in and brought him down, is it? That was just a collision in the box, you know. And Hugill, confident penalty down the centre.
The miss he had at the last time Middlesbrough played when he was for a 1-on-1. I think this was probably the confidence boost he needed, because obviously on 44 minutes he goes and gets a second, a Chesterton volley. Basically, Wharton makes a great save, and I feel sorry for Wharton here because it's kind of a cross-come shot. He has to parry it. There's no way he can hold on to it because he's with that stretched left arm, and that just bounces to Hugo. And you just know with Wigan's defence, their defenders are not getting it before an attacker. Simple as that. And he chests it, volleys this in, he absolutely spanks this in. Wigan ain't scoring against Middlesbrough at home, and they shall not pass, and I think that was kind of what happened. That's
all she wrote. That's good for Jordan Hugill as well. We've not mentioned him enough in this podcast. He was having a good season with Preston a couple of seasons ago, and earned his big move to West Ham. Never really worked out for him at West Ham. That took time for him. He did, yes, which did not help. It took him time to settle in at Middlesbrough. The fans been on his back because he's not made an immediate impact, but I think now he's starting to find his feet. The attack and talent Middlesbrough have, which is quite ironic considering the way their manager likes to play, the attack and talent they have is formidable, although he is a bit of a unit, and obviously him and Assombalonga can be used as good and effective target men. But he's on form, and I think now he's now got a couple under his belt. Bit more game time, I think he'll be up there in the goal scoring charts come the end of the season.
He missed a horrendous 1-on-1, and he shouldn't have missed against Stoke, which was probably the only highlight of that game. He should have beat Butland. Middlesbrough, I'll be honest, they're winning games, and they're second in the league as we stand, but they're certainly not a team I go out my way to watch. So 22,000 at the Riverside Stadium here, and they had 19 shots, 4 on target, but no, not for me. They're not great fun. Wigan had 1 shot on target. Have you got what Tony Pulis had to say?
I have, and this is the one I didn't write down, and I've just noticed. But Tony Pulis has basically said everything I said about Jordan. About Jordan Hugill.
I thought you were reading.
I didn't even. No. I swear down. I did not read what he said because I haven't read it down. I've had to quickly look at the website to get his quotes. I will repeat what he said. I was really pleased that Jordan got the 2 goals. What people have missed, and I've said it before, is the lad went from Preston to West Ham and was never involved in any football in the Premier League. I've already said all this, so I'm not going to repeat it. Wigan Athletic boss Paul Cook said come to places like the stadium today, playing against a very strong team, you know you're going to have to defend and come under pressure. But from my point of view, the goals we are giving away aren't coming from pressure. They're coming from individual mistakes. It's a sucker punch. You can make a million excuses, but if you offer good, strong teams like Middlesbrough the opportunity to gain confidence, you're going to give yourself a mountain to climb. If you make individual errors, as I say with Middlesbrough, they're an excellent side, very strong all over the pitch. They'll cause you lots of problems with their long balls. He didn't say that, but it's fact. And when they have to defend, they're defend as good as anyone.
Reading 2, Ipswich 2. Now, I made a lot of notes about this game, but the first one is, what the hell is with orange and black stripes?
Can I just say, we mentioned the Bristol City kit, which is innocent compared to this. I couldn't watch the highlights of this game because I got a migraine. I did. That made me. I like my wacky shirts. I've always been a fan of Holland because of their bright orange shirts. But this shirt with the black stripes.
They're like pinstripes as well. They're really thin black stripes and they're very close together. I've got quite. You watch this in high definition, right? This is going to send your pets mad. Watching these orange things run around, it's just horrible. I can't imagine they've sold too many of those. But anyway, there was a game going on, and one team were wearing god-awful shirts.
By the way, we haven't mentioned this. We should have mentioned it at the start of the podcast, but this does meld in well. It was Paul's birthday on Monday. I have yet to give him his present. I'm going to give it to him at 5-a-side tomorrow. I hope you enjoy the Ipswich shirt.
I hope it's the orange one because Gwion Edwards on 5 minutes. Did you see this goal?
I've seen every goal. How dare you even question me? You'll have to remind me about it. Though. No, of course not. No. Yeah, that was a lovely
at the edge of the box and just a great low volley. Volleys that are hit, they go top corner are luck. Now, if anyone's ever played football and you play with a fence behind the goal, you know whenever you're hitting a volley, you're saying, keep it down. I can't be bothered to climb over the fence. So if anyone's ever hit a volley like this, the concentration to keep the ball low it takes so much effort, so much more than just swinging your leg at it. I really did like this goal by Gwion Edwards. And from Ipswich Town fans that I've spoken to, he's been the one player that they've been impressed with. You know, it has been he has been one of the players that they've been really impressed with.
He seems to have been involved with most of the good so far this season with Ipswich, haven't he? I mean, he was injured a couple of games and they missed him as well. Also, the secret weapon that is Jonas Knudson's long throw. We've just now talked about Tony Pulis and Middlesbrough. I think every team has got a bit like American football where you've got a special team like kicker and all this, that and the other. Every team has now apparently got to have a long throw specialist because Knudson's throw is the thing that caused the danger out to the edge of the box. And as you said, Edwards, lovely volley. It goes to show you, and as you say as well, that proves you haven't really got a smacker volley for it to be fantastic as well, because he placed his, and that was a beauty.
Then Mayte. Now, when I watched the highlights to this, you'd think this was the best goal in the world by the way Am I wrong? He goes absolutely mental. In 7 minutes, this is a left-footed shot. There isn't a left-footed shot. He's falling backwards, and he kind of over his shoulder as he's turning volleys it. Now, Mate's a big unit, so it's never going to be an overhead kick Pele style. But Sam Baldwin did some great work down the left. He crosses the ball in, and as Mate's falling, as he's turning, he hits this low. This was a good goal. But I don't think it was as good as a commentator would have you believe.
No, I think that's because you didn't expect him to do that, as you say, being a unit, as you quite delicately put it. I mean, if you or I was able to score a goal like this on a Thursday, I think we'd make some people gasp, wouldn't we? We'll probably cause a tremor in Australia on Impact or something if we did. But that was the technique for it to get the contact as well. Because how many times do you see it in games every weekend or Monday, Tuesday, whenever they play, where they go to do these and they just hit nothing? That's just the fact he made contact with it under pressure and scored. I wouldn't say that as what you call a spectacular overhead because That wasn't, but that was good. That was good technique. I wouldn't call it goal of the week or goal of the month or anything like that. That was just a good goal from someone who's on form. And I dread to think where Reading would be without his goals.
100%, because we're defending like it's 11. So bear in mind, so we're now into the third goal of the game. It's 11 minutes in, right? A right-footed shot from a Biakowski long ball. So the goalkeeper gets the assist on this. So the goalkeeper gets the assist. The ball bounces once. I count.
That weren't just that. That was missed by Freddie Sears. Missed it first time because he went to control it and missed it. That went through two defenders. He just got a touch that got it past the keeper, didn't he? How can at this level of football could a goal kick cause so much mayhem for a defence?
The way I've put this, right?
So I'm going to say.
Hold on. Right, so John O'Shea goes to clear it first. Right, he misses it. You know, John O'Shea, once a Man United Champions League winner, or
37-year-old John O'Shea.
Freddie Sears then goes to control it. Now, when he goes to control it, he miskicks it, and that bamboozles two of the Reading defenders because they think it's.
No, because you say miskick, that implies he made contact. He didn't touch it.
No, it's almost like he's done a step over and dummied them, but he didn't. He meant to control it.
He meant to control it and missed it completely, and that bamboozled
By
the
the time
defenders.
he gets the ball under control, he's on the penalty spot. This is from a goal kick. So he's on the penalty spot, and all he does is just tap it in. And admitted, it's a good finish. It is a very good finish.
Oh, yeah. But how can that... Move on, because we could be here hours talking about this one goal.
Mo Barrow should have won a penalty. He was tripped. Didn't. Freddie Sears nearly scored with a smart finish. Roberts forces a great save from Yakolia. Biakowski made some great saves from a scramble. Then our Mate again from Bakuna. And I've just put, oh no, long ball lumped up. It just lands on his head and then over Biakowski.
You say long ball lumped up. That was a well-placed pass because there were two Reading attackers running into the Ipswich penalty box. He aimed for one of them, so it's not just hit him on the head aimlessly, and he headed it over Bialkowski. That was a good finish. And again, he's a man on form.
He's a man on form.
That's what you need to rely on in moments like that. You just got to get the ball up there and hope that gets to him, basically, because he's going to score more often than not. The way
14,900 are at the Medeski Stadium. Now, Ipswich got a point here, which we said this was a game they couldn't lose. We said last week, if they lose this game, they're in big, big trouble. They still are. Were Ipswich better, and I watched a lot of this game, or were Reading poor?
Bit of both, I would say. Bit of both. That stops the rot to a certain extent as well. Getting a point on the board away from home, they'll feel bad that they've lost the lead twice against a team who were there for the taking, maybe in Reading as well. But baby steps. I think the real test is for their next game after the international break, where Lambert has been able to work with the players who are left behind, which, no offence to them, is probably the majority of the squad who are not on international sort of duty, and maybe stamp his mark on them.
Roberts up front looked good. He did look good the last game as well. Sears getting on the score sheet. I mean, he's been the forgotten man. Ryan Edwards has played well in patches, and I think, and I know that when you look at the goals they conceded, it was a touch of speculative class from Mate and a really good header. So defensively, they didn't look bad, and I think there were shoots of recovery here for Ipswich, I think.
Yeah, and when you look at their squad, their starting 11, how different is that from what it was under the previous regime? That wasn't any different whatsoever. It's just maybe instilling the confidence in them. Maybe working a bit more on the training ground, maybe a more defensive approach.
Now, I know they were playing Reading, who are in just as much trouble. What it seemed from Ipswich is it seemed like they had more attacking threat. I don't know how. I don't know why. Whether they're playing differently. They certainly. It was get the ball forward as quickly and as fast as possible. Now, those of us that watched Paul Lambert when he was at Villa and had Benteke up front, Benteke looked like a world-class striker and got two £30 million moves off the back of, let's get the ball to Benteke as quickly as possible and have Weimann and Agbonlahor running off him. Now, when you look at what they're doing here, Sears is a fast little player. Roberts holds the ball up well. You can see where Lambert's going. Get the ball up. They can't score if the ball's in their own half. And I know that's very basic football, and there isn't much strategy behind. There isn't much kind of Pep Guardiola mold of it. But if the ball's in the opposition's half, they ain't going to score a bloody goal, are they?
No.
11 shots for Ipswich, 5 on target, 12 for Reading, 4 on target. I thought Ipswich were a better team here and probably were unlucky not to go away with all 3 points. What did you manage to say?
Yeah, I mean, can I just say as well, do you know how old Freddie Sears is?
20s?
He's 28.
Really?
He seems like he's been about for years, yeah. He only turned pro in 2008. It seems like he's been around a lot longer than that, doesn't it? He was West Ham. He come through. He's going to be the next best thing, weren't he?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I thought he was older than that. Sorry. Paul Clement said, terrible performance from us in the first half. Really bad. Really disappointed. I was embarrassed, actually. I can't get my head round why that was. You're the manager. You didn't know that. You shouldn't be there. I think we were fortunate to get in at the half. I don't think our defenders gave us the stability we needed. We deservedly got back into the game. We finished stronger than they did. Paul Lambert said, I thought we were outstanding. I thought we passed the ball great. We looked great. We controlled the game. I'm really, really proud of them. We're disappointed with the draw, but the performance was excellent, especially first half. Move on to the next game, because A, that's the best game of the weekend, and B, I love what our mate says.
Right. Norwich 4, Millwall 3. So a dull game. Tom Elliott.
Well, that was a very dull first half.
Tom Elliott on 24 minutes, header from a Jack Cooper. It was a free kick. A free kick lumped in, headed on from Cooper, then headed in by Elliott. Now, it was low to Krul's right. No one challenged Cooper. So, right, okay, so the free kick is to... Right, let me explain. So the free kick is to the left of the attacking half. It's lumped in to the right of the edge of the 6-yard box where Cooper's standing. And when I say no one is around him, he literally picks his spot. It was almost like he crossed the ball with his head. I think it's the best way to...
How many of Millwall's goals have been like this so far this season?
It's effective.
That isn't as if you can't predict this is going to happen.
Yeah. Oh, Millwall are going to lump it up and header it. No, not. They're going to play nice. They're going to play nice on the deck football. They can pass and move. No, they're not going to pass and move. None of them can move. Then there's a disallowed goal from Norwich for offsides. I think it's probably what it was after they hit the bar. I think that probably was offsides.
Yes.
Then Teemu Pukki, a right-footed shot from a Stiepermann. This was good move down the left, a low cross. Pukki gets to the ball before the defender. He's scored a couple of these where he runs last-ditch runs and he just gets it before the defender. And by the time the defender realises he's there, Pukki's got the ball and poked it in. He scored a couple like this. Right. Now,
yeah. He's the fox in the box, or whatever the finish is for Fox.
Then Norwich get a penalty for handball, rightly so, I think.
Yeah, that was a penalty, definitely handling the box. Bit harsh because that was a genuine attempt at a block of the ball.
It was, but your arm goes up. Yeah, I mean, the annoying thing is...
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt.
Just like Leroy Fer last week, the ball was probably going over. And you got your arm up, it hits your arm, it's going to be a penalty. But actually, the ball probably wasn't going on target. However... Now, I have given I give a lot of penalty takers grief. There was a Pogba run up where it took him longer than Usain Bolt to do his 100-meter world record. It took Paul Pogba longer to do his little shuffly run up. Teemu Pukki does another shuffly run up, and I'm glad he missed. If you're gonna be a Bert, I'm glad he missed. End of story. Lights nil on 79 minutes. So this game ends 4-3, and we're at 79 minutes. Norwich go 2-1 up. Right-footed shot from 25 yards, low to the keeper's right. I like this. This was hit so much power. The ball just bends. I thought this was a fantastic goal. I mean, the keeper has no chance.
No. That was lovely from Light, though, weren't it? Again, another one of them low ones as well. That's not necessarily hitting them with power. That's just getting them in the right place where the keeper can't get to them.
Absolutely. Then Leonard on 81 minutes. A long ball just not dealt with.
No, surely not a long ball.
No, not at all. Leonard was the first to react. This was really poor defending from Norwich.
Yeah, again, that was headed into the danger zone by Lewis, weren't it? Actually, Jamal Lewis headed it back centrally into the danger zone.
2-2, and then Jed Wallace gets Millwall ahead on 83 minutes. A right-footed shot from Steve Morrison. Krul throws the ball out to Wallace. Then it was a great 1-2 that cuts through Norwich. Krul just threw the ball to Wallace. It wasn't even like he'd gone to throw it and it's come out of his hands too early. He just threw the ball to Wallace, who is not a Norwich player, for those of you listening. And then he just plays a great 1-2 and then scores.
Yeah.
So,
can't play anymore.
3-2 Millwall. Then Jordan Rhodes on 90 minutes. This was a good through ball. Now, I don't know what the two central defenders from Millwall were doing, but it wasn't marking Jordan Rhodes because they each were probably on a goal post each. So if you imagine a football pitch, they're both probably marking a goal post. They were on the edge of the 18-yard box. Jordan Rhodes is standing right between them. The ball slotted through to him. He turns, controls it, shuffles forward to the 6-yard box. He gets so close to the goalkeeper he nearly misses it. And no one still reacted.
No, that was poor.
How I've described that is as slow as how it went.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I thought he was offside as well looking at it, but the line Millwall were playing was poor. They weren't level in any way, shape or form.
Yeah, and it was just like, I mean, they couldn't miss him. He's wearing a bright yellow shirt, for crying out loud. Anyway, Teemu Pukki on 90 minutes. I think it was 97 minutes, actually.
That was, yes.
Right-footed shot. Varanic, great move, awesome finish over the goalkeeper. He just chips over the goalkeeper. One of the coolest finishes. You can finish a ball like this to give your team all 3 points on 97 minutes. Yet can't just do a proper run up for a penalty. You Burke. Great game.
But
great game.
He is, as I said, he was the fox in the box, or whatever the Finnish equivalent is. Means he scored the winning goal, or the second goal of the game. We can now officially call him Fox Lahtikosa. Fox Lahtikosa is Finnish for fox in the box.
26,000 people at Carrow Road. No wonder we can't get tickets. This game, and bearing in mind this is against Millwall as well. Millwall probably were disappointed not to get 3 points. But would many of us given Millwall a chance before the game? Probably not. 61% possession for Norwich, 21 shots, 7 on target. This was a fantastic game of football. If you're showing someone the chance, you're sitting in a TV producer's office and you show them, right, I can sell you some TV advertising revenue. You show them this game. Because this game had everything. Had a full house on a 3:00 on a Saturday. Had a full house at Carrow Road. It had a good away following from Millwall because they're always loud. We've been to a Millwall game before. When they've come to Carrow Road, they always bring a loud following. This game had everything.
The only thing that was missing was an English goal scorer for Norwich. Still yet to have one so far this season. That's in no way, shape or form meant to be a criticism. I'm just saying they are literally the only team in the championship who haven't had an English goal scorer. Daniel Farker said, "I am delighted for the lads. My lads done really well." No, it was an unbelievable game with so many turning points, and we were able to win it in the last moment. Normally, you cannot win a game with so many odds against you. After we conceded to go 3-2 down, we put all our offensive players on the pitch. I find Jordan Rhodes very offensive, I have to say. And it was down to them. The goals were not luck. All of the credit and compliments go to the lads. Yes, he said it. Hey, it's important to enjoy special moments like this. It was a magical night, which shows much of it is because it was played in the afternoon/evening, not night. Neil Harris was furious.
I was going to say, was he complimentary about his players? Or did you throw him under
He was furious. He said, "My 6-year-old daughter plays in an under-7 team, and I think they would have been disappointed to concede the 2 goals that we did at the end. I am the captain of this ship, so I take responsibility, but the players involved have to hold their heads up and say that's unacceptable. They simply have to take up better positions and defend the box better. There were plenty of good things from the team, but that is no consolation to us right now."
It's like Neil Harris to throw his players under a bus.
Well, in that case, throw him off a boat because he says he's the captain of the ship.
You don't get the best out of a team or group of individuals by constantly going and berating them. Yes, he did good with Mill last season against a lot of. He was. If it weren't for him, they'd have struggled. They probably would have gone down last season. He did really, really well with the squad he had. You just cannot, in this day and age, get the best out of players or any kind of group of individuals by absolutely berating them in public the way he's done. I'm sorry, it ain't going to work. Forest 0, Stoke 0.
Let's move on to what the manager said.
I've actually got a Pantilimon shirt, right? That looks so much like Stoke's kit. Did you notice they were wearing like dark purple? He was wearing dark blue. I struggled because it's the reason I noticed this, and the only real thing of note in this game was when Pantilimon decides to assault a phobie outside the box, and I couldn't work out whether it was a phobie.
He got the ball.
Did he hell? He got a phobie. That's for definite. And he done right because when he done wrong because when he gets up and he gets back he comes back into the camera shot as the Forest defender's got the ball. He's jumping up and down, waving his arms. That's more animated than you ever see Pantilimon. So he's guilty. He's got the guilty look. Berahino had the worst header I've ever seen. It hits the back of his head and goes over the bar, but he had his head down, so it bounced up. And Butland was the man of the match.
Oh yeah, towards the end he made some fantastic saves to keep him there.
8,000 people at the City Ground. I think you're getting bigger attendances now than when you were in the Premier League last.
I can't remember that far back. When were they last? No, that's 99-2000, weren't it? Yeah, because there's a feel good factor, especially with Al Hassawi gone. The negativity has gone around the club. There's now positivity with Evangelos Marinakis and the Greek ownership, and Aitor Karanka slowly but surely getting the best out of his players. They're just outside the playoffs, although if it wasn't for Kamar Roof, we would be 5th, as I made that point at work earlier today. What the manager said, we'll move on because there's literally not a lot to talk about in this game, unfortunately. Aitor Karanka said the performances have been really good. In the first half, I do not know if we had too much respect for them with their Premier League quality players. But at half-time, I told the players that we had to play our way, that we had to be brave and want the 3 points, and the second half was much better. It was good for us to compete against the kind of teams we have in recent weeks. We'll keep growing and improving. Gary Rowett said, in my opinion, we were the better side. The last 10 minutes we ran out of a bit of energy. Forest put us under pressure. We have got some really good moments in this game again. We had good control. We didn't look in that much trouble at either end. Defended excellently. We just didn't find that last finish. Stoke were missing Tom Ince as well, weren't they? Were. Who's out injured, but still some of the players they were able to call on, though, still they've got quality there. They just think they've gone under the radar a bit. Their form has picked up. They've only lost one of their last 6, haven't they? Although in them last 6 games, though, do you know how many goals they've scored in them 6 games? You would know because you've got the same bit of paper in front of you than what I have. 3. They've scored 3 goals and conceded 2. So that's probably where the problems are. They're probably too tight that they have forgotten how to score, as well as forgotten how to concede. So these 0-0 results are not a surprise, especially against a team like Nottingham Forest. Only one team's conceded
scored less goals in the last 6 games against Bolton. That's worrying. Anyway, moving on to a team that can score goals, are doing it for fun, and are probably the surprise package this season is QPR. QPR 3, Brentford 2. Obviously, Brentford had their managers ripped away from them and probably the soul at their club destroyed, but this season's going to be tough for them.
Whoa, that was a bit heavy.
Well, I just think they could have done
the soul ripped out of them.
They could have done some great things this season. I think it's really put a damper. They've got the top goal scorer in the division. They play some great football, and I just think that since they've lost their manager, it's been on a downward slide. Mope scores on 22 minutes, a header. I think the keeper should hold on to this. He didn't. It loops over, and Mope heads it into an empty net. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you've said.
Held that. However, Mope went off with a concussion just before half time, and that could keep him out for a couple of games, which is going to be a massive loss. Luongo then equalises for QPR, a left-footed shot. Freeman caused trouble down the right, and Luongo was just free to tap it in. I just don't.
Who set him up down? Who set up Freeman down the right, Paul?
I don't actually have that.
Well, that's not a surprise because you can't say it. Visualek.
No, seriously.
That's our mate from the other day, and he's involved with another goal later on as well. So I look forward to you saying it. Visualek.
I didn't even have him in this. Okay. Joe Lynch scores on 58 minutes, a left-footed shot. It's a free kick. It's just not dealt with. 3 QPR players could have scored this. They were literally lining up. They were lining up. Wells then scores on 60 minutes, a right-footed shot from a low cross.
From?
I didn't write the person's down. It come off a Brentford player.
Good work down the left by Visualek, who plays in a ball into the area with a touch briefly on the penalty spot for Wells, who tucks away beyond Bentley.
His name's spelled WSZ. Yeah, okay.
Visualek. You can say like Mope correctly everywhere, and Ben Rama and Yanara, some players who play for the other teams, but you can't say that. You've mastered that, but then again, he has scored like 600 goals so far this season. You could probably spell it in your sleep.
Deslegard on 81 minutes scores. This was a good move, finished low to the keeper's right. This was a good game of football by the current manager of the month, Steve.
He put that, of all of the managers who could put the curse of the manager of the month to bed, Steve McLaren. Brilliant,
17,000 at QPR. This was one of their biggest attendances of the season. 17 shots for QPR, 7 on target, 12 shots for Brentford, 6 on target. This was just a good game all round. Have you got what Steve and Frank said?
Yep, Steve and Frank.
Steve and Frank.
No, he's Steve and Frank. It's like first name and last name. Steve and Thomas were on first name terms with these managers. It was a great game of football, and we were fortunate enough to win the game. We showed character at 1-0 down to go 3-1 up. We blew them away for 10 minutes. They came back, and we had to hold on, which we did for 20 minutes. It was a great football game, and the place was rocking. I said we'd have to win, not just on the field, but off the field, and the fans certainly helped us get over the line. Thomas Frank said, I would say we need to regroup. We need to regroup. Let's get them in, get them fresh again. We need some players... What? Sorry, I've written this down wrong. I said, we need some players injured, but what I meant to write is we have some players injured, and we need to get them back. We are... Yeah, we need to injure our top scorer. There are definitely things we are doing right, but we have to defend better. In the second half, we had a blackout, more or less, for 10 minutes, unfortunately, considering what happened to Neil Mope, where we defended way too soft for all 3 goals. We need to do better in general.
Oh, poor old Mope.
No, seriously, concussion in sport in general is a very serious thing, and thankfully we live in advanced times where he will get the treatment and the rest that he needs to make a full recovery.
100%. Time's gone by, they've sent him back on the field, put a band-aid on his head.
Yeah, well, I mean, going off subject for a second, we both are fans of wrestling, maybe not nowadays, but back in the good old days, and we've seen what concussions have done to people.
Absolutely, NFL's a good example of that as well.
Yeah.
West Brom 4, Leeds 1. Possibly, it was a shock, because I don't think West Brom... Having watched West Brom against Derby, and they played really bad. This comes a really good performance. I think Leeds were a bit stunned by the attacking power of West Brom. Robson Kanu went close early on. He just hit over the bar. There was a great save from Peacock Farrell from a really dangerous shot. West Brom then hit the bar again. That was in the first half. Kanu then on 51 minutes. This was a fantastic goal. Starts from Roof diving to try and get a penalty. Dirty Roof. Then a great move upfield.
Yes, I am glad you said that, because I've got that written down. Thank you.
The handball, I could give him credit. I could because I'd do the same thing. This was, he dived. It actually was better for him to stay up and try and score the goal. Dirty diving cheat. However, it really does backfire because while Leeds are protesting, West Brom play the ball downfield, really quick, fast break. Kanu gets the ball on the edge of the area and absolutely smashes this low to the goalkeeper's left. It hits the side netting inside the goal. Fantastic goal, just what Roofe deserved. Because I tell you, if he stays on his feet, this doesn't happen. Matty Phillips in on 67 minutes. He wins the ball from Klich just inside the centre circle. He then runs upfield with it, hits this low to Peacock Farrell, who should save this. He's not covered himself in glory at all here. Good goal from Matty Phillips. Peacock Farrell then makes a great save and shows his agility. Did you see this save? This was unbelievable.
That was lovely. As a goalkeeper myself, that made me purr. That was a fantastic
unbelievable
save.
How he gets that ball is beyond me. Harvey Barnes on 82 minutes he's going a good way about getting himself recalled by Leicester, is Harvey Barnes. Poor play from Leeds. West Brom win the possession. Barnes runs through the middle and just a really smart finish, sort of dinks it over the goalkeeper as he's turning. You just knew he was going to score. Dwight Gale then gets on the act to make it 4 on 83 minutes of right footage. Yes. This was a scramble. And then with a back heel, he hits it into the ground. He hits the back heel into the ground like he means it, and it bounces over and on rushing Peacock Farrell. Unbelievable goal. Cheeky man. Pablo Hernandez.
cheeky man. And if anyone bought the Football League paper on Sunday or Monday, the picture on the front cover is that goal, and his face is a phenomenal picture. Have you seen the front cover?
It looks like he's
of the
having
Football
a
League
poo.
paper. That does, yes, that does.
It looks like he's having issues, is all I'll say. But he kind of crosses his legs to get his right foot to back heel it. He then back heels it as the goalkeeper's diving down. It ball bounces over his his outstretched arm. Fantastic goal. And just to even try that, Pablo Hernandez scores a great header from a Say's ball. This was a good move. The thing is, on the balance of play, I don't think it was a 4-1 result. It shouldn't have been a 4-1 result. It was 25,000 people.
No, I think with the amount of chances West Brom had, that could have been more. To be perfectly honest with you, I know both teams. Well, I know there are 35 shots in the game in total. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
West Brom scored 4 goals at home and had only 28% possession.
That's football in the wilderness for you, mate.
That's why it's only worth £2 million every season to them to price this guy. This is a theme that isn't disappearing. I ain't letting this one go. It just annoys me. What did the manager say? Because I couldn't find any comments.
Darren Moore said it was a worthy 3 points. Everyone played their part and did very well. From the first minute, we set about it and wanted to win the game. When the opportunities do come, we know we've got players in those areas of the pitch and we can score goals. Marcelo Bielsa said, I feel responsible for this loss. We knew the features of the opponent that was what needed to attack space. In order to prevent the opponent from counter-attacking, we had not to lose the ball when we played it out. We worked on this to prevent this from happening. If the opposite of what I designed happened, I'm responsible for it. What I could say is the score was a little bit too much. He thinks that should have been 3-1, not 4-1.
So where that leaves the table, Norwich currently sit top, goal difference of 8 on 33 points. Middlesbrough then second on 31 points, goal difference of 11. Leeds then sit third, level on points with Sheffield United, who are in fourth, both on 30 points. Then we got West Brom, who are fifth on 28 points, also on 28 points at Derby, and then just behind them in seventh, just outside the playoffs, are Forest on 27 points. This result now means that Norwich are 3 points above Leeds in third, and they're also 6 points above Forest. So Norwich, a team someone predicted to go down, are now 6 points clear of being outside the playoffs. Which, or as Daniel Parker put it,
how many points?
Could you go relegated?
How many points are there left to play for this season, Paul? Would you like to tell me? 87.
Hey, as Daniel Farke's interview last weekend proves, he wants to get to 45 points so that he doesn't get relegated, and then whatever happens over there's a bonus. However, I can guarantee if he's on 45 points and still top of the league, it could be an interesting season. Certainly an interesting transfer window. Bottom of the table, the wooden spoon so far, Ipswich on 11 points. Then they are cut away. Bolton are on 16 points, Hull on 16 points, Millwall on 16 points, Reading on 16 points. 5 points in this league is nothing. And a couple of games ago, you don't see where Ipswich get a point from, let alone 2 wins. However, I do see signs of life in that team, and as you said, they're only 17 games in. There's a long, long way to go. We've seen teams in Ipswich position actually get in the playoffs. I remember, was it our old mate does the stuff on Quest, Ian Holloway? Didn't he take over a team that were in the bottom 3 and get them in the playoffs?
I want to say that was Palace.
Was it Palace or Blackpool? Can't remember which one, but it was one of the two. Top goals.
Oh no! That wasn't. That definitely wasn't Blackpool because he took Blackpool up from League One.
Neil Maupay on 12 is leading the goal scoring charts on 12 goals. Billy Sharp on 10. Dwight Gow on 9. Deuce Graben on 9. Jukovic on 9. Pukki on 9. Che Adams on 8. Bradley Dack on 8. And Jay Rodriguez on 8. What was your game of the weekend?
Oh, so many to choose from. Norwich 4, Millwall 3.
I'm going to go with West Brom. West Brom Leeds. I thought that game was fantastic. What was your goal of the weekend?
Partly wants to say actually Dwight Gale, but I'm going to give it to Barry Mackay for me because that was just a pure strike, and that just flew into the top corner. Many goals to choose from, but I just like that one because I'm all about the power with sort of
Conor Hourihane's free
thing
kick.
Of beauty.
Just fantastic. Shock of the weekend for you?
West Brom 4, Leeds 1 for me. Not from the fact Middlesbrough, what the bloody am I talking about? Not the fact that West Brom won, but the sheer sort of gap in the scoreline. To be fair, I think that was a massive upset.
My shock of the weekend was Sheffield United 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0. I didn't give Sheffield Wednesday a hope of getting a point there. I really didn't. And to be honest, it wasn't even a game I even contemplated they'd get something from. And Sheffield United, there are a couple of teams in this league they're going to be there and thereabouts. Sheffield United definitely one of them. On current form, that was a bit of a surprise. I think the Derby factor had a one on that. So, we have a dreaded international break. Boo. Boo. Wayne Rooney testimonial. Boo.
Hey! But can we just take this opportunity very, very quickly to highlight some of the games we can look forward to in the Nations League? I mean, we're playing 5-a-side tomorrow, so we can't watch games such as Andorra against Georgia, or Hungary against Estonia, Luxembourg against Belarus. Well, yeah, I mean, Luxembourg against Belarus, although Luxembourg are actually quite good these days, and San Marino against Moldova, Liechtenstein against Macedonia, Gibraltar against Armenia. Gibraltar could actually get a playoff game for Euro 2020. That shows how ridiculous this thing is. Azerbaijan against the Faroe Islands, Malta against Kosovo, and worst of all, Albania against Scotland. I mean, come on. Don't make me laugh.
Oh, wow. But after this weekend, the Friday the 23rd, we've then got Ipswich Town at home to West Brom.
That's if the championship hasn't gone on strike in an argument over TV rights.
This one definitely deserves to be on television because this is going to be a cricket score.
Ipswich all out for 0. No, if West Brom carry forward their form from beating Leeds, West Brom win.
See, West Brom have only scored 11 goals away from home. They've conceded 12. I think this is going to be a draw. I think Ipswich...
How many games have Ipswich won at home?
Right, we're going to go there. They've drawn 6. They've drawn 6 at home.
Okay.
They've only scored 2 goals at home. Oh no, they haven't. They've scored 6.
No, they scored 6.
I think this could be a draw. I think this could catch a cold West Brom. I think West Brom do blow hot and cold. I think teams where they know they have to give a game, they give a game. I think teams that they don't. West Brom have quite a few players on international duty as well. And I think that could really play a part in this game because they've only been back 2 days before they got this game. This is quite a quick turnaround. So I think this could be an Ipswich draw. I'm going to nail my colours to the mast and say Ipswich, if you get a draw out of this game, you'll be happy. Right, so 12:30 kickoff sees Rotherham against Sheffield United. Rotherham at home, which we know they've won 4 at home and he lost 1 against Sheffield United, who won 4, drawn 4, 1-4, lost 4. Tough one.
I think it's going to be their first draw away from home. I can't see this being anything other than a draw.
I think this is going to be a Sheffield United win. I don't think they're going to draw another game, but I think this is going to be close. I think Rotherham, if they do get anything from a point here, they're probably going up against one of the candidates for promotion. I think if they get anything from this game, it's a bonus. I just don't think they will. Millwall against Bolton. I just don't want to see this game. I don't mean that in a derogatory way. This game's going to be Doc Dross.
You can't say anything other than a Millwall win, can you? Really, considering Bolton's downward trajectory.
And they're away
form. They've lost 5 in their last 6, and he scored 1 in their last 6 games. Their away form. Their away form is Their away form is actually better than their home form, isn't it? When you look at it. They've lost 6 at home. Millwall's away form, they haven't won yet. Drew 2, lost 7. Arguably unlucky against Norwich at the weekend, going to a good. Yeah, I want to look at the away form.
I think it's going to be Millwall win.
Millwall are going to win, yeah. Basically, I'm trying to pad it out, but Millwall are going to win. Simple as that.
Hull against Forest. Hull at home. You got to go for a Forest win. I don't think you can see anything other than that. I know you don't like backing Forest, but I just can't see Hull getting anything from this.
I'd like to think you're right. That's not a tough game for me because I want to say Forest win, and I think they have got enough about them to beat Hull. Hull are one of them teams where we went there last season in the FA Cup. Week off the back of beating you in the FA Cup 4-2 at home. Went there for our 4th round tie and lost 2-0, I think. That's a team where we can't tend to go there and perform like how we should perform. I still think we've got enough about us to win, but that's not going to be as convincing as some people think. They can't defend as badly as they have done in the last couple of games, Hull. There's no 2 ways about that. If Forest score first, we'll win convincingly. If Hull score first, I think that'll be a draw.
Leeds against Bristol City. Leeds at home.
Well, again, this one could be a banana skin because Leeds have gone off the boil a bit, haven't they?
Still,
and they've got a few players going away. Well, yeah, but they've got a lot of players going away in international duty as well. Bristol City have certainly got to pick up, but their away form is not dreadful. This could be the type of game Bristol City could go there and nick a win, That could be my shock of the week. Draw.
I'm going to go safety because I think Leeds are going to win this, but I think you're right for the points you make. I just don't think Bristol City have had enough going forward to beat Leeds. Not from what I've seen. Preston North End at home to Blackburn.
Preston win for me.
Blackburn have been shocking away from home from what I've seen. I don't know. I think it's tough.
Their away form 1-3, drew 3, lost 2. That's not that bad, but Preston's is the same actually at home than what Blackburn's is away from home. But Preston are in form, aren't they? They've unbeaten in their last 6. Well, last 7 actually, haven't they? 1-3, drew 3 of their last 6.
Been solid.
Scored 12, conceded 6.
Been solid at the back.
I just think they're on the up now. We've said they're in a false position. I don't think they're going to be in the bottom half of the table come Christmas.
Preston only conceded 6 goals in their last 6 games. I think Preston could get. I'd go Preston. Blackburn's a draw. Sheffield Wednesday at home to Derby, and I can't see anything but Derby win here.
Derby, no, can't. I can't even argue with you.
Stoke at home to QPR. This could be an interesting game, actually.
Yes, I mean QPR away from home. or bust. I'm not allowed to swear. Stoke at home they're not great, are they? They're not scoring goals. That's the problem in QPR at the minute. So, I'm going to put my neck on the line and say QPR win.
Yeah, I think you're probably right on that one. You look at Stoke, they're in 14th, and there's nothing about them excites you. They don't look like putting a run together, and I think that's the scary thing about it. Swansea at home to Norwich.
Oh, now this is a real test of how far Norwich have come.
I think Norwich are going to win this. They've been worse.
Mr. Parker.
They've lost 3 at home and they've only lost 1 away. I think Norwich are going to get at least a point, if not all 3 here.
I'm going to be brave and call this as a 0-0.
Really?
I'm going to say 0-0. Although, were you aware? If you did you watch the Sky highlights this week or the Quest highlights?
I watched the Quest highlights. Can't do an amusement.
So you would have seen the European form table.
Yes.
Where Norwich are only behind Paris Saint-Germain, Juventus, Manchester City, and Inter, having won 8 of their last 10 with 25 points, and they are ahead of some of the greats of European football, such as Borussia Dortmund, Chelsea, Juve Stabia in Italy, Liverpool and Granada, not the car or the TV company, the team in La Liga. So Norwich are one of the most informed teams in Europe. But a couple of seasons ago, I think, wasn't there a League One team who were top of the European form table?
Like the first 10 games or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, I can remember. I wish I could remember who it was, and I've done my research and be able to say, but there weren't there? Now, I can see this being a 0-0. I think they'll just cancel each other out.
Norwich are going to win this for me. I think that they're on such a high. I think Swansea are going to have a lot more players going off international duty than Norwich have.
Why? You've made that mistake 3 or 4 times in this podcast. That's normally getting your Sheffields confused. Now you're getting the Swansea confused with Sheffield.
It's because they're both crap. We're going against Reading. This is a Wigan win. Oh,
one of our most avid listeners is a Sheffield United fan, and you've just called his team crap.
Sheffield United good. Sheffield Wednesday are crap.
Oh, you make that clear. Okay, fair enough.
Wigan against Reading. Wigan win.
I don't know, to be honest with you. Again, wouldn't surprise me if this one is a draw. Wigan's home form is the only thing that are keeping them outside of the bottom 3.
In their away form, 1-1, 1-9, lost 8.
Their away form is keeping them in the bottom 6. But they've got a goal scorer on form in Muay Thai, and in recent weeks you've seen how dodgy the Wigan defence is, giving away penalties willy-nilly and not being able to defend. Not quite on a Hull scale, but they find that hard at the minute. This one's a tough one to call. I'll put my neck on the line and say draw, but it wouldn't surprise me if Reading went there and nicked the victory in the battle of the Hoopy Shirts.
We're going to win the Hoopy Shirts. Brentford at home to Middlesbrough.
That's a real clash of styles, isn't it?
One team wants to play football, one team wants to kick the ball at the stadium.
Yeah. On recent form, you've got to go for Middlesbrough, haven't you, really?
I would so love Brentford to win this. Just
that'd be
for football. Do you know what I mean?
That would be a victory for football. Yes, you took the words out of my mouth. A victory for football, but I just think Middlesbrough will be able to nullify the threat, especially if Mopé is not fit in time.
I suppose at least he's not going to go all the way off to international duty, is he?
No. Although you keep saying he's Argentinian when he's actually French, but rubbish. Yeah, we're actually interviewing him next week, aren't we? No, he agreed to it while he was concussed. No, that's not a joking matter. Sorry, that's not a joking matter, and I do apologise immediately. Middlesbrough win. I may well be concussed making that prediction, but I think Middlesbrough have got enough about them to go there and win. And on the coupon, they're just under 2-1. I think that's a value bet.
This game is the game that is on Sky, so this will be 0.
Paul says as he yawns, obviously.
This game will be 0-0. I guarantee it, because it's on Sky. It'll be 0-0. There's a 2 o'clock game, Villa against Birmingham. Now, I can only assume for 2 reasons this is on at 2 o'clock. One, so Sky...
No, that's 12 o'clock.
1, to keep everyone at the pubs. That's why they used to do it at Arsenal Spurs. That's why they used to hold these games earlier so people can't get that drunk. So one, to keep the people at the pubs. Two, so Sky can show this. They haven't announced they're showing this, but I would be very surprised if they didn't show this live on Sky, because this is fantastic.
Well, as in by also on Sunday from the all-fabled Premier League, you've got Bournemouth against Arsenal, so we know which game Paul will be watching regardless. or Wolves against Huddersfield at 4:00. What would you rather watch?
Definitely Villa
Wolves against Huddersfield, or I mean that's the bigger game, isn't it? The two, no two ways about it.
But this will be sitting behind some women's bowls tournament on the red button that you could watch this game probably.
I look forward to watching that women's bowls tournament. I've got a fiver on Wendy Jack. That's a bowls joke there for any bowls fans.
Anyway, going back to the game, who do you think is going to win?
They're
both level on points.
I'm free. Yeah, I just think Aston Villa, because they're on and up, and I mean, as a Villa fan, self-confessed Villa fan, Dean Smith will know how significant and important this game is.
But Gary Monk,
and I just think they've got
Gary Monk is.
Birmingham have done really well, and I can't believe they're only 12th considering the run they've been on and are still on, having won 4 of their last 6, drawing one of them as well, scoring goals for fun. But Villa have just got too much quality going forward.
Yeah.
Especially at home, they've only lost 1 of their 8.
It's an interesting one. It's tough to call, but part of me thinks Birmingham are going to go and spoil the fact that it's on Sky. I think they've got the ability to be solid at the back. I think they've also got the ability to nick a goal from a corner. I can see a Birmingham winning.
Oh, yeah. They're 3-1 on the coupon, mate. I'd like to see it on your bet.
So that concludes our roundup of the Championship and a preview of the games after the international break. As always, if you like the show, then please leave a comment on iTunes or a 5-star review. If you want to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Championship TA1, we always like interacting with everyone that listens to us, and it's always good to hear people's opinion, because obviously, we just talk to each other and we get each other's opinion on the games. It's always nice to hear other people's opinion, because that's ultimately what this game does. It invokes conversation, and that conversation then invokes arguments. And the arguments are sometimes really funny. So as always, you can like us on Facebook and on Twitter, and follow us at Championship TA1. That's good evening from me,
and it's a good evening from me.
And we shall speak to you all back after the international break and after the next round of fixtures, and then we have a midweek round of fixtures as well. So we should be back probably the Monday night after the fixtures. So we shall.
Oh, what?
Yes. So we shall speak to you all in a couple of weeks. Goodbye. And stop.